Mongoose Jake here to do a quick little mod showcase and also talk a little bit about a company on Etsy that I really like. But of course, you can see the subject matter for today is X-Shot's Reflex 6. Now, I've done a lot of videos on this blaster. It is one of my top two favorite pistols that there is. The other one, of course, being the Busby Zenith. But X-Shot has done a great job throughout the years, because going back about 7 years ago, you can find my very first review of the original Reflex, which was the yellow one. This is, of course, they've been updated over the years. Larger plunger tube, a little bit bigger shell, and just all around maintain that very economical but highly moddable basis that the Reflex has always been. Because basically this thing, the sky's the limit, and you get an entry fee of under $10 for these things. Like, last one I picked up was $8, and it came with a whole bunch of darts. It was a Dollar General package, but the fact is, Reflex is my #1 most recommended blaster for anybody to mod if you're starting out. One, you're not committing a lot of money into it. Two, it accepts Nerf strong arm springs, and of course, all kinds of companies make those. And three, it is just simply easy to work with. And then as a bonus, so those three reasons plus a bonus, you have Radioactive designs on Etsy, ran by Trip Miller, that make things like upgraded cylinders. You have, and of course, with that rotation mech. And then, of course, this is for the Fury 4 over there that I'm going to be doing a build on. But you have plunger tube spacers, which help to, and spring spacers, which help to both solidify the plunger tube itself and increase the performance of a stock spring. Then you have this whole piece here. Looks very simple, but it does a big job. It replaces the front of the plunger tube and much better airflow, as well as eliminating a little bit of dead space. And you just put a foam gasket on it here. And speaking of eliminating dead space, you have this little 3D printed piece that you epoxy in onto the end of your plunger, which, of course, again, eliminates dead space. Very simple pieces that he has. He has a lot more on his Etsy site, and I actually put some of those to use in the build that I'm going to showcase. And I want to take a look here. I already have the blaster pulled apart. As you can see here, I have tested this both on a 6 kilogram strong arm spring alone, or right now it has the stock spring plus a 4.5 kilogram strong arm spring, which you can get from anywhere you would like. They're sold under different things, but you got a 4.5 kilogram plus a stock spring. Similar performance. I've just been doing some more testing. I did some testing with a 6 kilogram strong arm spring, and I was getting around 147 to 149 feet per second now that the build has been broken in. I'm actually getting very similar performance with the stock spring plus the 4.5 kilogram. So it's take it or leave it. Either combination, the single strong arm spring or this stock spring plus 4.5 kilogram, it works pretty equivalently. I mean, they both get right just barely under 150 feet per second with the parts that I have installed. And of course, now you can see your part right here to help place the plunger tube, as well as act as a bit of a spring spacer. And like I said, the front of that plunger tube has Trip Miller's piece installed, which I love these. It solves a problem you never know that you had. But it does work, because compared to the stock parts, this is much, much better as far as overall efficiency. And the fact that the plunger tube now is placed, because it has a bit of movement on the stock one. So, as you can see here, we have a skeletonized cylinder, which he doesn't list this on as a physical piece on his Etsy store. I got him to make it for me, and when I ordered some parts, and I appreciate that greatly. But this one is a bit of a custom job to do, because of course I've cut 4-inch long brass for the 8 barrels. If you want to avoid all that, you can just use this piece, which he has sold physically in the past, and you'll get a little less performance, but a whole lot less work too. And these are very good cylinders. This is obviously going to be going in another build, probably that one. Now that I've got it out. I've already built like 8 or 9 of these things. Let's just shoot for 10. But this has been very fun to do, this build overall, because yes, right now you're looking at it, that's nice. It's got a skeletonized cylinder. So the key to that, to make use of this, of course, is not to still be front loading, because why would you have 4 inches of brass if you're going to front load? And I'm going to give away a little bit here in a second when I put it back together. So I'm going to do that. And then we'll come after a cut. We'll come back. So I don't want to give away everything just yet. Because part of this build is, of course, you already see it's painted here. Because started life as this. You can already see it doesn't have this dark navy blue. It has black. Because I wanted the color. I wanted the color combination that I got. So we'll come back in just a second. Okay, now coming back, here's why the whole purpose for the skeletonized brass cylinder. As you can see, I didn't want to give it away because I want to also showcase the paint job, which I was very, very pleased with. But the rear loading port, and again, kudos to Trip for making this, because this is, again, was not something that was publicly available as a physical item, but he has a custom order option where you just talk to the guy and he will work with you. Well, I had seen him on his own personal build, which his, of course, had much longer barrels. He was going for a much higher performance number than I am. I was just shooting for 140 to 150 feet per second. That's all my goal is most of the time. You know, either HVZ or right around 150 feet per second. This hits in the 140s. I was getting 147.3 to 149.8, I believe was the spread. So that's about 2.5 feet per second spread, which is pretty consistent over, firing about three loads worth. But the whole point of the build, of course, was I wanted to replicate his rear loading Reflex 6, because he's a huge Reflex fan, and so am I, and I'll be quite honest, I seen the idea, loved it, and I wanted to do it myself. And he's the guy that did it first. So, credit where credit's due. But being able to rear load a Reflex 6 is something that I never knew I needed, but I absolutely had to have once I seen it. And I will warn you, it's a lot of work to do. It really is. But it's fun. And of course with the Reflex 6, it's a very kind of like economical thing to do. Being able to do that is quite fun. There we go. And boom. It's fun to do that. And then one more time. Boom. I love that. It has a great amount of power out of what's still, mine is still kind of holsterable if you really wanted to. Of course, your normal cylinder would be only coming out to, well, as you can see here, it would only be coming out that far. So it does add some length to your typical Reflex. Trip's replacement cylinder is pretty much the exact same. So it would be sitting back in here and only coming out to the same length as your stock cylinder. So take that into account if you're wanting to do this. This is only for the extra performance. The same exact build with the same exact springs, internal parts, everything but the rear port and the skeletonized cylinder. It's going to get you somewhere in the 120s and 130s, which would make, say, an 8-shot Reflex would be a great HVZ sidearm with his parts put in here. I've done a few of them on the channel, so if you want to see it, browse through. And I will be doing another, so you can always wait for the future if you don't want to browse back through. But this one will be getting hydro dipped and that installed in with probably another 6 kilogram strong arm spring, so you can see, or again, stock spring and a 4.5 kilogram combination also works perfectly if you're not going for insane numbers. And we'll take a look at the paint job here. Now, commenting on the grip, you already seen that, but I painted this black. This is a coat of primer, just one coat of a gray primer, and that's after it having been sanded a little bit. And then that is 3 coats of black, this Rust-Oleum black, with 2 coats of a high gloss, this Rust-Oleum Ultimate high gloss clear coat, and then of course a Hydro Dip. And the Hydro Dip is color coordinated between what I knew I wanted to make the black grip, the blue priming handle, as well as all the orange parts. So we have a bit of black, a bit of blue, a bit of orange, and it made a nice wavy pattern. I love that. I did incorporate a little bit of gray, because I like throwing in just a little bit of extra tones. And this side turned out really, really well, I think. I absolutely love all the patterns that I got out of that specific Hydro Dip. You can see how they wrap around, and it turned out really, really well. I need to do like I hardly ever do YouTube shorts, but I just need to do a short showing this thing, because I think that is absolutely awesome. But it turned out really well. Everything about it did. But this originally was one of those builds where I had it going for so long. Tripp even asked me, "Hey, did you ever get that done?" Because of course, you know, he wanted to see his parts that he sent me, see it actually achieved into a full build. And here it is finally. I put a picture up on my Discord as a teaser, but I reshot the whole video. I wasn't happy with the first one. Did it last night, and here I am again. Here I am on Sunday reshooting it, because this time I want to showcase it a little more. Go ahead and fire it one more time. So we'll load it, get that in there, spin it once, because if you're only going to fire the one shot, got to make sure that it's rotated and ready, and then it'll pull the rest of the way around, and boom. I absolutely love that. But that is my new rear-loading Reflex 6 and future build. But huge thanks to Tripp Miller, Radioactive Designs, for all the parts that went into this. I did pay for them, but he went above and beyond to provide them, because including one of the rotators had an issue with mine, and he sent a spare for free to fix that. He actually sent me 2 spares. So good service, great parts. I absolutely love them. The build quality and print quality on that, you can see how good that is. It's actually got some gloss and shine to it. But love that. He's got his own little logo here. But it turned out to be a fun build, great build. And thank you to Tripp Miller for the level of service and parts that he provided. And go check out his Etsy shop. I will put a link to it in the description of the video. And look forward to another build coming up in the future. Until next time, this is Mongo Jake saying thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.